Hey everybody, Patrick, how you doing, buddy? A big 2-day weekend recovery mode, right?
Yeah, dude, I'm just still thinking about everything that happened. There was so much action across 48 hours, um, and it was just some speed tour sprint cars. Crazy.
Yeah, got the 14 of them down there. I got to sneak down there and hang out with you Friday night, and then you got the big championship still on Saturday that we'll chat about here in a minute. Um, Came home here Saturday. We had the Neil Allen Fine Jewelry Race for Hunger, the Boise Rescue Mission. People were getting in with some canned food. Um, I'll be honest, I love every class of racing. We got 13 of them up here. The Idaho Asphalt Services Hornets went 125 laps, 27 cars, one caution. Unheard of. And I'm talking 4 and 5 and 3 wide, and they were flying. So we'll chat about that in a little bit. I do want to say that our good friend Stephen Blakesley works down at Shasta Speedway, some of our racetracks down in California. He does announcing, streaming. He's going to be one of our off-season guests. We got a couple of racing junkies like you and I that just like talking about it. So I've got about a few guys that are streaming around the North. We're busy this time of the year, but Steven's going to be one of them that comes on with us later on in the off season. But Speed Tour Supermods, some of the guys that we watch here in the Valley are headed down the Shasta Speedway. Steven sent me a quick little promo, and hopefully we've got some fans watching from down in California area, Brazil, New Zealand, who knows?
I actually do have some friends in Brazil that pay attention to this stuff. So
really, see, yeah. So there we go. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what's going on at Shasta Speedway this weekend because some of our local drivers have loaded up and made the trip, and then Patrick and I will talk a little Stinker Stores Skunk Cup coming up here in just a second. Here's what's happening at Shasta.
Weekend by the numbers, 93 degrees. Race fans will be treated to great weather at the Shasta 150. 600 horsepower. The Shasta 150 goes green at 8:45 p.m. with 600 horsepower stock cars racing on the 3/8 mile speedway. John Hingarani is both the defending winner of the race and recently swept both Irwindale races earlier this month. This is the oldest and most prestigious stock car series in the West, making its 16th appearance at Shasta. 100 miles per hour. The Speed Tour Super Modifieds bring 900 horsepower machines back to Shasta for the Tony Fernandez Memorial. They will aim to break the all-time track record at 13.48 seconds over 100 miles per hour average. Then they will compete in heat races and a main event. Grandstands open at 3 p.m., followed by practice and qualifying. Autographs at 7 p.m., followed by the Super Modified Tony Fernandez Memorial and the Shasta 150. Tickets available at the gate or online at ShastaSpeedwayTIX.com.
So yeah, some cool stuff with some of our local drivers in the California area. We've had a few drivers go down to Shasta over the last few years and do some racing. So Steven and the crew will have all of the action down there, and just wanted to give them a couple minutes of publicity for the 16 million people that have just logged on to the Pit Stop podcast. Hey, but for the people that are on or coming on, comment. We've got our good friend Joe Daly. He was on racetracks with me years ago, and good to have him back out here. We're going to talk a little family, a little business, and a little racing with Joe here in a few minutes. But get on and, put your comments out there. Ask him some questions. Tell him how beautiful he looks. Patrick and I take compliments too. I guess we have to take criticism too sometimes, right, Patrick?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess.
Part of our deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely jump on the comment section. We'll try to get those in. 2-day show, Patrick, at Magic Valley Speedway. Our friends at Stinker Stores. We talked to the Bergener last week. From your view, how'd it go, man? I mean, the pits were packed. It was 117 million degrees. But the racing on the track was pretty good too, right?
Yeah, racing was awesome. A lot of the drivers that I was able to talk to commented on, a little bit of concern with how hot it was. And we did have some of the drivers have to pull out early because of the heat and cars overheating. So like Monty Bergner won a heat race, but main event time rolls around, only made it a handful of minutes and had to pull off the track because these things were going crazy, overheating, different issues. It seemed like each night somebody, there was just, it's racing, right? There's always going to be some kind of bug you find somewhere but like the racing was still super, super fast, very competitive, especially like we had the trucks running double mains. So, you got Jenna Qualley and John Newhouse battling the entire time. And it was just good racing, man. And it kind of, at least for a little bit, made me forget how hot it was. But it was a great weekend. And they had the skunk too from the Stinker stores. The skunk you saw was there Friday night.
Down there on the front stretch with you.
Yeah.
And
it's one of those things. I know I'm going to be announcing and seeing some things that maybe most people don't see. A skunk was not on my list. I just never thought, but it was a 5.5 foot tall skunk
with some pretty girls. The skunk had an entourage of bodyguards, some young ladies.
Yeah, who'd have thought? I don't know.
If I could go back.
That's the Skunk Cup. They made it. The folks at Stinker Stores made it a great event. Everybody that was there had a blast. Like, I had my sister come up from Salt Lake. She's not really a race fan. She loved it, had a great time, brought a couple of her sons up, and it was just a blast.
Awesome. So I got to watch with you on Saturday night or Friday night, Mike McGurdio, and we were just talking about Mike. The dude is blistering fast, and this is after like 10 years, hiatus, starting his business and doing all kinds of things in life. What'd you think getting to see that 17 rip around that track both nights? Pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, man. You could. I was after Friday night, because watching Friday night, you can tell who's pushing these cars, where you just wonder as they're coming out of turn 4, like, is that thing going to get loose? Because he is on it and he's not lifting, so you can tell which guys are really, really ripping on the track. And so we had, Tillman flying, Corey Lockwood flying around there, McGurdio, Colton Nelson, right? Like stacked field full of guys and gals that really know how to get around. And so night 2, Saturday night, I was watching the crowd when McGurdio and Tillman, those guys come out. You saw people down in the front row scoot a little bit closer. They're right on the edge of their seats when these guys are coming out and cheering a little bit louder and stuff, because they know, they're going to see some real fast sprint cars. And I was looking it up. I was looking at qualifying. Check this out. Night 1, Friday night, top qualifier for the sprint cars, was Corey Lockwood. Okay, Corey Lockwood of the 99. That's Friday night. Saturday night was McGurdio. Both of them had the exact same lap time to the thousandth of a second. So they both ran 11.976. I was like, did I see that wrong? I had to go back and double check. So night 1, Corey Lockwood. Night 2, Mike McGurdio, 11.976. And for a third, it's a third mile, 11.976. Track record's 11.75. So, they're barely 0.2 off, and it's a lot harder than they would like it to be out there for
a little greasy. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were really, really pushing it, and it was fun to watch, man.
Right. No, that was a great show. And then, like I said, Saturday, Mike McGurdio, Tillman wins. McGurdio wins the whole deal. That's his second 2-day show championship of the year. He is your Diamond Cup champ as well.
Yeah, he's having a heck of a year.
So I think all the guys rolling into Meridian in September looking for the big money, one of the biggest money races in the Northwest. They better check out that number 17 machine.
Yeah, that's for sure. I know they're all going to be paying attention to what he's doing.
Right. Trucks, street stocks, everybody else had a great show. The Western Mountain late models. I know those guys have to fix their cars every weekend, but they'll bring out 3 or 4 cars, and it's some of the most exciting racing. And one of the Meridian guys, Andrew Palmer, is just dominating fashion. He's having a great year down there at Magic Valley with you as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Palmer is just, and it's, he runs multiple classes, but he's one of those cats. And seems like there's a few of them at each track you go to that you'll see him in street stocks or modifieds and a late model or
Right.
a sprint car, and he's one of those cats that you put him in something, he's going to do good.
Yeah. Yeah, Andrew's doing good. I mean, that makes he won 4 main events in one night in 2 different classes at Meridian. Rolled down there, picked up a late model race. Did he win that street stock race Saturday night too? Down there at Twin?
Yeah.
So he is he's only won 6 main events in the last week and a half. He's got nothing. Great kid though, and I will tell you, he's a multi-generational racer. He came out a couple of years ago. He had a lot. He had a lot to learn. He was out there every Thursday night. And a lot of people are like, "God, why is this kid out here every Thursday?" Well, he's just won 6 main events in 2 classes in a week. So I think the Thursday nights worked out. He's going to be one of the youngsters to watch. His grandpa, many wins and laps out there when I was a little kid watching his grandpa race. So excited for Andrew. He's going to be awesome this year.
Yeah, he's got family members at the track whenever he's there at Magic Valley, and they always say hi. And one of the ladies was letting me know, she's like, "Man, I've been watching racing since 1950 something." You know what I mean? She's like, "I've seen a lot of races," and she especially at Meridian and Magic Valley Speedway. And she says that she likes what she's seeing recently at these tracks. So she said that it seemed like for a little bit racing was kind of not as good as it could be, and that it's getting better. So I like to hear that for guys like you and me who love to be able to go up there, hang out, and call it a job. It's good to hear from some of the fans that they like what's going on.
Yeah, no, it's great there. So Skunk Cup's in the books. My good friend Jeff Matuska went 125 laps of Idaho Asphalt Services Hornets. Youngblood and him just swapped the lead. They'd lead for 5 laps. They'd go through 12 lapped cars, and then they'd come out and they'd flip-flop because one of them would get stuck behind. There was all kinds of great racing out there, but Neil Wasmuth and the Neil Allen Fine Jewelry folks, along with Boise Rescue Mission, it's a big deal for them every year. And one of the best races I've seen all year long. I mean, you put 27 Hornets on the quarter mile, you're just, they're good drivers, but it's like there's a little money dangled in front of them for this race. They went 45 green flag laps, had a spin, yellow flag flies, and then, they just finished it up with the last 80 green going, flying. So props to the Hornet drivers, all the trucks down there at Magic Valley, Jenna and John. And yeah, it's just the only thing that sucks is that it's already the end of July, and that means the season's coming to a close here in a couple of months. It's hard to believe, but we got a lot of good racing left to go still.
Yeah, it's we were talking about it being kind of just over the halfway point for the trucks and that, and it's just seeing good racing from John, Jenna, Jeff Wade, Losser in the house as well. Got some kids there too that are making kid mistakes on the track, but they're learning. They're getting time behind the wheel, and it's good to see, man, for the future.
Right. No, they are doing awesome. Again, the fans that are jumping on board, we want to remind you to throw some comments our way because we've got a very special guest in many ways getting ready to come up here. Anything else about last weekend, Patrick?
I just wanted to give a shout out to Natalie Waters. Won a heat race each night, and when you're in a heat race with, McGurdio and Tillman and DJ Lyons, and you know what I mean, these names, the guys are just really, really super fast, and she's coming out with the wins. It's good to see.
Yeah, Natalie there getting that thing dialed in. She is getting the bad luck bug off of her because, even last season, she was doing everything right. It was just, Lady Luck wasn't on the ladies' side last year, so she's doing really well. We have our first comment from Colton Nelson, and his comment is comments.
Good comments.
That's a good comment, Nelson.
Solid.
He was thinking about that one long and hard. And Jeremy White, love Jeremy. He's been a longtime supporter of racing and all of the podcasts. I mean, Todd and DJ and Sam's Turn 5 Live when I was doing racetracks in here. So, Jeremy, we appreciate you. We just need to get We need to get him. We need to see him behind the wheel of a race car more often. We need to get that guy racing.
Hey, I'd pay if I had money, like if I had disposable income, you know what I mean? Like some of the cool cats do. Man, I'd put some cheddar to see Jeremy race again. Loved watching him race down at RMR. But the cool thing now is, it doesn't matter if it's a podcast, if we're streaming on Flow Racing or Speedcast or where, if you have a broadcast of racing going on, you can count on Jeremy White being there.
Yep, and those are the. It's not only the guys behind the wheel; it's the guys that support it and keep this deal going all over the Northwest. So yeah, great weekend of racing, both at Meridian and of course Magic Valley. Dan and the crew at the Stinker Stores, props. I hope that they felt it was a good show, and I hope they jump on board with Adam and Spank and all of us again next year. Stinker Stores, great sponsor at both tracks, but that was a hell of a show. So
cool trophy too.
Yeah, the trophy was awesome. Overturf Photography, they helped with that, so that was pretty cool for him to be able to take that home. There's Colton. Good to see you guys. Colton just loves to see that there are actually two ugly guys in the world that aren't afraid to put their face on here. Colton had a great run down there, and I love to see that young man grow. Another one that makes me feel old since I've been watching him since he was little. But Colton's got his hands full in the next 4 or 5 days. We'll talk a little bit about what he's got going on at home here at Meridian. But hey, before this guy grows any hair waiting for us, I think we need to get our next guest on here. Joe Daly. Joe, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on tonight. I appreciate it.
No, you're good. You're good. I like I said, Patrick's got a chance to watch you race that 78 Legend down there a little bit. I always love having you come on because it's with Joe, it's so much more than racing, because Joe's a true ambassador to this sport. Patrick, he's one of the good guys. So Joe, tell us a little bit for maybe the fans who don't know who we are. Let's talk a little bit about your racing past and what got you involved, and then we'll roll into some of the things that we're dealing with here in 2024. So where did it all start, buddy?
So I've been going to Meridian since I was 8 years old. So I used to be one of those kids that played under the bleachers while the races were going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been in my blood. My dad and my uncle were always going to the races, always let me tag along. I've grown up, I watched like P. Picker, Hamilton when he was young.
Right.
And look at him now. He's still racing. What? He's 90s? Is he in his 90s now?
He's like 84.
84, 90. Dude,
yeah.
I'm 50 or 52. So he's older than I am. Because when I was little, I was watching him race cars. I'm like, that dude's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been out there since we were 8 years old, and I knew some of the drivers. It wasn't until I was in my 20s that my dad and my uncle decided that they were going to build a car for the first time, and built back then was a Bomber, which is a street stock now.
Right.
I helped them build it, and I just pitted on them because they drove it, because that wasn't my baby, that was their baby, right? And we're out of Thursday practice, and my uncle goes, "Hey, see if this suit fits you." I'm like, "Why?" He's all, "Well, you're going to jump in here if it fits." And I'm like, "Yeah, it fits. It's good." And I went out there in that car running for the very first time, and I was running like 18s, 19s, and I thought I was flying. I'm like, "Man, this is fast. This is awesome." And, those 18s.
But it was.
For me at the time, it was fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never being in a car before and trying it out.
So
here's the deal. Some of those guys make racing look really, really easy. And I thought, I could do this.
In 2003, our dear friend Dan Breach and I were racing Hornets. And we were out at Meridian, and for the one time, I don't know, something must have been broke because my car was fast, as it usually wasn't. We were running like 18s, and people were like, "Oh my God, those Hornets are flying." Of course, 20 years ago, we thought we were in the Daytona 500. Anyway, go ahead. I just wanted somebody to know that one time I was fast other than talking. Now I'll turn it over.
So, and then it morphed from that into getting a street stock of my own, a Camaro. And back then, we'd have 20, 30 bombers a night, right? So we had B mains, and I was the dude in the B main all the time. Always wanted to try and get one of those first two spots, and it took a couple of years, and I finally did it and made it to the A main and got to race with the likes of Adam Nelson, well, and all the other Nelson boys, because I think all of them were racing at that time.
They were all there then with us. Yeah.
And they all knew the secrets, and I didn't know those secrets. And I'll give you an instance. I was racing Brock one time. We were pushing it, and I'm like, okay, if I can just stay on his inside, I can roll with him around the track. Well, I pushed her a little too hard into one and spun her out and went to the back. Got done with the race. I was talking to Brock, and Brock goes, "Threw a little too hard into the corner, did you?" I'm like, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I did." So it was some good times with those fellas.
Well, Colton says that you're the sexiest guest Patrick and I have booked yet.
Colton's just sucking up.
He just wants a hug on Saturday.
He wants a hug. He gets a hug every week, man. He's a cool cat, you know. I enjoy Colton and his family, his growing family. So you know, I'm all those Nelson kids. We've kind of all watched them grow up, and now they're out there at the track doing their associated jobs and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of cool. So the Nelsons are a pretty cool family and fun to work with, you know. So. And now they have Magic Valley, obviously. So we're doing kind of some similar stuff and shifting what Magic Valley used to be to what it is now.
Yeah. I mean, it is changing. Patrick's getting a good firsthand look at that as well. I mean, in the last couple of years, Patrick, you've seen that crowd grow and the car counts right in front of you.
Yep, everything seems to be growing, and we're getting more and more comments from the fans. Hey, this is so much better. I used to come a few years ago. Hey, things are getting better. This is more fun, you know, so just love it.
Yeah,
it was great the last time we were down there, you know. So kind of get back to where I started in the Bombers, obviously. Then I got an opportunity to run a Intermountain Modified is what we called it back then.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. And I ran actually Kyle Latham back in the day, was going off to the service and had the root beer car.
We did. Yep.
You remember the root beer car?
I do.
And I actually I got to drive that. Kyle was gracious enough to let me run that car. I had a lot of help back then from the likes of Scott Walker. And that's when Dylan was starting to get into the late models or the modifieds as well, right? And it was a good time, and the modified just kind of clicked with me, and we ran that for a while. And I got married, had kids, and stopped racing.
That happens.
It happens. And then, I took probably, that had to be a 10-year hiatus.
It was probably pretty close, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty close to that, and then came back and was helping Wyatt King. And there's something about it when you get back into the pits and you're helping somebody and you've raced before, that bug just crawls back out, right? It's an addiction. It's definitely an addiction. And I'm like, crap, I think I want to try and race, but I didn't have anything to race at the time. Josh and Rosalie Weller said, hey, we have an extra legend car, try it out. I tried it out, liked it, ended up buying one. And don't ask me how I fit in one of those cars, because it's a tight fit, dude.
That was Patrick and I's first question. You just took it away from us.
There's some space in them. It takes you got to squeeze in. But they're making those big boy chassis now. It only gives you an extra 2 inches, but it gives you that much more leg room, which is nice. I am still kind of squished in there, but we're trying. And then of course I ran that modified. I went and bought a modified from Kyle Latham 2 years ago. Or first I bought the modified from Josh Finopoulos and ran the old blue Cryptech car.
Right.
and ran that and did well. I think I ended up finishing 5th in points that year. And then we ran the car that I bought from Kyle Latham and ended up 3rd in points, and we're having a ton of fun. And then last year we ran that car, and Lady Luck was not with us. We were running into trouble around every corner. It seemed like, right? We had bad parts, or we got run into the wall, or blew a radiator and spun ourselves. And so last year was kind of disappointing, but we're back. We had the whole intention of coming back this year and trying to fight for a championship. But I'm in a legend now due to circumstances with the family. So
Right.
So that's where we're at right now. We're running that legend for Jerry Davis over at GCAT, and he's been gracious enough to let us run that with what we've had going on this year.
Well, yeah, I mean, a good run. I mean, our friend, I know this guy. You guys have been Mike Soyseth, one of your fellow legend drivers. He's going to be asking for autographs Saturday when he sees you next time.
That guy's a hoot. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's great. He helps us all out. I set up this song because it was for Patrick and I. See, I don't mind stealing Joe Daly's thunder because he's going to take all our thunder here in a minute. But Sherry Waters loved Flo and loved the announcing. So we're learning. We're trying, right, Patrick? Slowly.
Hey, Sherry's super nice. Super nice. That's very kind words. Thank you, Sherry.
Yes. And Sherry, we will be sending you that $20 a piece.
Yeah. Same with you. Don't worry about it. Got you lunch next time. Yeah.
I didn't know you were still sending out those brides, Brent. But
that's what I do. Yes, whatever I can do. So, Joe, I mean, I was thinking back. You know, you've always been involved outside of racing, as far as with the community. I'm going to go way back. I think there was a few when my children were little. Out at Emmett with Kevin Sharp, you had a concert. I don't know if you were in law enforcement at that time. You know, the racing against drugs, all this stuff. Tell us a little bit about the different charities that you've been able to, and maybe not charities, but the different programs that you've been able to be a part of, and what it means to you when you can involve your motorsports experience as well.
So we really cultivate that community and giving back as much as we can. And so back in the day when we ran the Intermountain Modifieds, we had the first Racing Against Drugs program. We went to the school. We were talking with the schools during Red Ribbon Weeks. We were going and giving testimonials because obviously I had issues with that in my past with my father being an alcoholic and addicted to drugs and then getting clean. So we did that. I was able to join up with at that time we had the Idaho Meth Project was really big, and Treasure Valley, Treasure Valley Drugs and Alcohol Coalition.
Right.
And I used to do tons of stuff with them and hand out brochures and go to events and just kind of give people my perspective and let kids know. The big thing was that kids can break the cycle. They have the opportunity to break the cycle if they choose different paths. Just because you're in a situation that's a bad situation doesn't mean you have to repeat the same things. And so with that and doing the community work and that kind of stuff, we've been able to meet with a ton of people. 2 years ago, we joined up with Parker Hager and So Good. Man, that Parker does an awesome job at community events, supporting teachers, supporting law enforcement, veterans. We're working on a project, or he's working on the project right now of Reads Across America. And I don't know if listeners know this or not, but when they donate money here, we found out that money wasn't staying here for our vets. That money was going back east and being spent on whatever. So Parker, along with a couple of dignitaries, have now taken that over, and everything that's going into that Reads Across America in Idaho is going to stay in Idaho and go towards our vets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that we're working on with that. And then we get to bring the veterans out from the veterans home to races, and we get to meet with them and mingle with them and thank them for their service.
Right.
That's been huge for us. We do nights at the Idaho Food Bank packing food, and we even get our children involved, which is awesome. And it's nice to give back, and the people get to come out to some races because Adam is generous enough to give us some tickets to give to folks when we go to these events. And it's just awesome being involved in the community. It's our hope that we can keep being involved in the community and do more things as we grow. Because right now we're growing. I got a 8-year-old daughter that's running outlaw carts now that is freaking awesome. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. Come watch her. She's lighting it up. So I got another group that I've been working with this year, Squatch Juice. So super awesome group.
What
I
is
had
this?
some of that.
You had some of this, and what do you think about it?
I thought it was, number one, it tasted good. And it was that day when we were all out there, and it was 108 degrees.
Yeah.
Honestly, just the little bottle that you gave me that morning, probably the best I felt on a hot day. I wished I would have had some in Twin on Friday because I really saw the difference.
So I took 13. I sampled that out. I took 13 bottles, and most everybody that tried some bought it.
Really?
Yeah. Colton bought 2, and they loved it. And so I'm actually loading up because we're racing in Twin on the 3rd.
The 3rd. Mm-hmm.
I'm actually loading up with this stuff, and I'm going to bring some bottles down there and have some bottles for sale down there as well. And as well as some samples. We'll do those sample bottles again so people can try it.
So what is it? I mean, for the folks that are out there,
So
electrolytes or what is it?
It's got B vitamins in it, right, for energy. So it's natural, long-sustaining energy. We've had people give up coffee and start just drinking this in the mornings. It's you can mix it with whatever. You just mix it with water, or you can make a slushy out of it. I've done that a couple of times when it's been really hot, and just make a slushy. It has focus factor in it, right? So it's super good. The healthiest energy drink, I do in the research, this is the healthiest energy drink on the market, and per serving, the cheapest energy drink on the market. I mean, because you go to the store and people drink Bangs and Monsters. Those are $3.50 a can. A tub of this is $40, and you get 30 servings.
Oh,
right.
That's not bad at all.
And you can mix it up to be as flavorful as you want, or as non-flavorful, depending on how much water you add to it, right? So it's your taste. You don't just get whatever's in the can.
Right.
So these guys are awesome too. They give back to vets. They do a ton of stuff for our community, and just Brandon Hopines is just an amazing dude with an amazing product. And you know me, I'm a health nut.
Mm-hmm.
I research all this stuff and try and figure out what it does and if it's good or not. And if it's not good, I'm not going to recommend it. But this stuff, like I said, I have it in my own cabinet. I use it all the time.
Right. Now, is that something that there's distributors out there? Can you buy it retail?
You can buy it retail. We have it at Shields right now. I have it here at the gym. You can go online to squatchnut.com.
That's right. I'm on squatchnut.com looking at them right now.
Yep. You can order it on there. And I believe if you use the code, and I think Brandon's watching and he can put it in the comments. I think if you use the code JoeDaily10, you get a discount if you order it online. So like I said, I'm going to bring tubs down for sale on the 3rd down to Twin Falls. So if people are interested in getting some of that or getting a sample and tasting it, we'll be down there. My wife Heather will be down there. Heather, I could do. Here's the deal. I couldn't do half of this stuff. I'm lying. I couldn't do 98% of this stuff without Heather. So she's got my back. She takes care of stuff and makes sure I've got all my stuff together. So this wouldn't be possible without her with doing all this stuff. So she gets a lot of credit for this.
Right. She commented on there. Oh, she loves you. You're handsome. Blah blah blah. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
So no, I mean, and that's awesome, man. I mean, for all the years that I've known you, I'm glad. I'm glad you got somebody like that to support you, and obviously you guys have the same goals and the same dreams. So that's cool. And then
yeah.
Brandon does say, Joe Daly 10 is your
With an E. He put an E in it, so make sure you put an E in my name.
Oh, okay.
You use that
There's
code. Unless he
discount
changes
code.
it to take the E out. So
Okay. We'll see if he recomments.
So yeah. So that's where we are right now. Our progression right now is we are going to have the modified out next year, and try and run for a championship with those guys. Those guys have been running great.
Yes.
Looking sharp. You know, they've kept most of their cars clean. Yeah, there's been a couple of scuffs and whatever, but I think that happens anytime in any class of racing.
It does.
But those guys, I know I've kind of been disappointed in the car count for them.
Right.
But there's a couple of us that are out, right? Like I'm not there this year. Neil was out this year because he was rebuilding the car. Josh, the 45 car, is
Randolph.
not there. Josh Randolph. Johnny Cleaver isn't out.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, but I think those cars are there. I think people might be just taking a hiatus and get things back together because that class is so competitive.
Yeah, it is.
You've got to be on your A game every time you come out and to keep up with those guys. So yeah, so I think next year the car count will be back up. I just think people are trying to get to their A game so they can be competitive. I mean that class is separated by so little.
Oh, it's any of those drivers on any night, especially at Meridian, can take a win. I mean, Katie Miller's been right there this year. Of course, Kyle's just had some bad mechanical luck and things like that. Nick Durbin finally got that car together, and he led about 15 laps of a main event, and he's going to be one of them that's going to jump in there. So yeah, that's just a class. Alex Duda. How many years have we been watching Alex just thrash and work on that thing, and he's got 2 main event wins this year already.
Right.
First time he got out, he's like, Brent, did that just happen? And I'm like, yeah, you're talking to me up here. Either you crashed or you won, and you didn't crash. And then he did it again last week. So a great job there.
Yep.
The future of the sport is becoming the present of the sport, Joe, and that's just making me and you and Patrick and all of us starting to feel a little old.
Little old.
So one thing I think, and a lot of the folks on here, and we appreciate everybody's comments. What do you think, Patrick? Joe Daly is the comment bringing on leader. Normally we beg for comments all night. Now I'm just making sure that I don't miss anybody.
Yeah, they're coming in.
They're coming in. The computer's smoking. Fans, driver. I mean, this goes for me and Patrick, Adam and Colton, the people in the concession stands, and of course the drivers. It's not all we do. I think it's awesome to be able to share with Patrick when I'm in Twin. He's got his kids, his family's there. He's making it a family affair because it's not all about talking on Flow or talking on Speedcast. It's not all about you guys, driving. We all have families. We all go through stuff. Sorry, it just thundered. Scared me. I forgot to close my window. But the power's still on. Everybody told me the power is going to go off. So, Joe, and like I said, I asked you first. I know this has been a tough year when racing season came up for you personally. And I know we all wanted to, we gave our prayers and our best wishes. But tell us, if you don't mind, what you guys have been through, because we see Joe, the race car driver, Joe, the business owner, but you guys had a heck of a scare as far as Joe the dad this year. So tell us a little bit about it and the progress that's been made.
So in March, my son James, 19 years old, was riding his motorcycle, pulled out of our subdivision and was headed south down Linder Road. and a car did not yield at a yellow light and head on him on his motorcycle. It was quite strange how the event unfolded. My bonus son Easton was driving by with his dad. They were coming back from football practice, and he saw a bike on the ground and immediately called his mom. Said, "Hey, is James home?" She said, "No, he just left on his bike. His bike is on the ground." So Heather, Michaela, our oldest daughter, and Paisley got in the car, ran down, and sure enough, it was his bike, and he was being whisked away in an ambulance. Nobody was telling Heather anything. Finally, a lady that had been there and saw the accident, witnessed it, and had been sitting with James said, "Hey, you need to follow that ambulance. That's James." They called me, and I was down the street on Linder at the gym, and I freaked out, and I took off from the gym, and I beat the ambulance to the hospital. You never want to hear that as a parent, that your kid's been hurt. I don't care if it's just a broken arm, a broken finger, or anything, but they tell me his bike's messed up on the road and he's in an ambulance and they're running him to the hospital. So we get to the hospital. I get there first. Everybody's pulling in. The ambulance pulls in, and I'm expecting them to take him out of the ambulance and run him into the ER. The ambulance isn't opening. They're in there. They're working. The police are gathered around the ambulance. I'm trying to ask the front desk what's going on. They're like, "You can't tell you anything. We don't know. As soon as we have answers, we'll tell you." I'm like, "I'm just going to walk out in the ambulance bay and start talking to people." They're like, "No, you can't go out there." Well, come to find out, they lost James twice in the ambulance. So he had extensive injuries. The main one was the blunt force trauma to his heart had torn the first two layers of his aorta. So there's only one layer left, and if that goes, it's done. That's a widowmaker type deal, right? So that was their first order of taking care of something, was his aorta. They were able to get in and do a patch on it, and then they had to make sure that patch was going to hold. So during that process, it also blocked off part of his main artery to his arm by putting that patch in. And so they were concerned about that, plus the tourniquet that had been on his leg for 10 hours because it would have just bled out. So they got to a point where they felt stable with that and started to work on the leg. They had to take and put a artificial artery in his leg because it was so mangled that when they took it off, they couldn't reconnect it. So he ended up with broken right arm and wrist, tendons ripped in his left hand, broken leg, which was in a exocast, the big one with the slits going through it for the first while he was in intensive care for the 2.5 weeks, I think. And we didn't know at that time what was going to happen. Doctors were like, "Hey, this is pretty serious. He might make it. We might have to take his leg. We're not sure yet." We're just, this is a day-by-day game.
Right.
And, he's making a recovery. He's doing well now. So we're happy for that. We're very fortunate and very blessed that God wasn't ready to take him home yet. So at this point, we just did a bone graft 2 weeks ago on his left leg because when his leg was in that tourniquet, he didn't get enough blood to the femur, so they had to cut the top 6 inches off of it. So 2 weeks ago they did a bone graft. It was successful, and so now we're just waiting. There's another 3 weeks we have to wait, and then he can start putting pressure on that leg to see if we can start walking. So right now, he's able to get out of the bed and set himself in a wheelchair because his arms are working good.
Good.
And so he's able to do that. We're hoping that they ended up having to take out part of his calf muscle because after the surgery, when the blood got back into it, it expands. And so they have to leave slits open. And so it comes out part of the way, and whatever comes out dies. They have to cut off.
Right.
So we're hoping that his foot will come back and he doesn't have a drop foot, but that's still a possibility that he'll have a drop foot. But other than that, he's here, and that was our main focus in getting him healed. That's why we don't have the modified out. We didn't do any work on that. And so it's been good, but it's been remarkable to see and feel the power of prayer that all the people that follow us kind of knew. They didn't know all the details, but they knew we needed prayer, and everybody was praying. And it's been awesome to see that healing in James and watch him take things in stride.
Right.
So at this point, that's where we are. We're waiting for some rehab and see if we can get him walking again.
Right. Well, good, man. I mean, that's like I said, as a father myself and Patrick. Hang on, I have my window open, and there's like they must be drifting in the cul-de-sac. Sorry, there we go. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I see one of my kids cut their finger, twist their ankle, and I freak out. And like I said, I'm glad that everybody was there for you guys. And it's got to be a lot of long nights at the hospital and a lot of long nights away from the rest of the family, just trying to make it work, right?
Yeah, I think there was a point in time that I hadn't slept for like 4.5 days, and James's mom and I were taking turns staying the night at the hospital, so one could go home and shower and clean and spend some time with family and then come back. So it was pretty crazy for a while, and the family dynamic was kind of put to the test, you would say, right? Because so much time away, and we have other kids that we're worried about and that kind of stuff. So, but we worked through it. We got there, and a lot of family support, a lot of friend support, a lot of prayers. It worked.
Awesome. Well, that's good. I know, like I said, everybody. None of us know exactly what you guys were feeling, but everybody's heart sunk a little bit as we tried to watch and send some good thoughts and stuff. So tell him that I know he knows, but tell him that the racing family's out here pulling for him, and I know he's got a good team. He's got a good dad that's going to get him through that for sure. Yeah,
we're gonna keep working and hopefully we'll get him out to the racetrack as soon as he can stand to. He really doesn't want to go anywhere until he can walk. He's like,
right.
I want to be in a wheelchair. I want to walk. Like, okay, let's just do it.
Let's just get that part done, right?
Yeah.
Well, good, man. I mean, that was like I said, we hate to see that happen. And as a dad myself, and I know Patrick. I mean, everybody feels it, but you feel it a little bit more when you see that stuff on Facebook, and then you turn around and you look at yours standing there beside you, being like, blessings and prayers there. So, So with that, we roll into 2024. Legend season's going good, man. What else do you got to share? I mean, the business looks like you guys got the business up and running. Things going good there.
We moved the business. We moved down Linder to 160 North Linder, Suite 110, and opened up 6,400 square foot of the gym. We're getting new members in here, and it's been nice. The gym's coming along, and people are finding out about it and like it, because it's not like a big box gym. It's everybody's in here to support you. It doesn't matter if they're a pro bodybuilder or somebody that's 200 pounds overweight trying to get back in shape and get healthy. everybody here is like, hey, let's go, let's do it. Hey, you're looking good, and we've created that uplifting community where everybody feels welcome. It's not awkward when you walk in for the first time.
Right.
So,
Right.
and it's been good, man.
Good.
The other thing that we do that's different is once we hit 300 members, we're putting a cap. And there's a waiting list, and we're getting close to that. But once it's filled, it's filled, and there's unless somebody quits or dies, you can't come in.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, man,
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on.
Well, I appreciate you. I gotta send some shout outs to Jerry for letting me drive that legend car, because we were going to end up with a year off, and Jerry goes, hey, we got an extra legend car, come and drive it for us, get your mind off that stuff, and do something that you love. I know that you're in a tough spot. So Jerry over at GCAT has done awesome for us, and Mike Soyseth, that dude's been there. He always does all of our wraps on our cars and performance signs, and does a great job with that. Squatch Juice coming on board, so good. The Pine Resort up in Pine, Idaho, has come on board with us, and
Nice.
all of these people are like, hey, we're interested in next year when you get the modified out. We still want to support you and be with you and watch you grow and watch James come back to the racetrack. And then the other one that we've been talking with and working with is Cordova Coolers, some of the best coolers on the market. These guys are awesome, and they've been super supportive of us. And then you got Tyler Newman. Tyler Newman has been out at every race with us. He also, another guy who has a modified that isn't out this year. That'll be coming back next year because he's getting it together and wants it right. Tyler's been out there supporting us too. So thanks to all those guys for letting me come out and have some fun and just race a car. And to all the fans, man, I enjoy coming to the races and talking with the fans and their kids and walking up in the stands and they're, hey Joe, how you doing? And
Right.
that makes the whole deal for me, man. It's being able to interact with those fans that are having fun, maybe having a beer at the racetrack or whatever, and get to interact with them and see the smiles on their faces while they're watching the races. So that's a big thing for us.
Yeah. No, and we love it when you're out there. Even when every now and then, Patrick, we gotta play some dance music for Joe when I see him on the front stretch, and a lot of people give me a dirty look and leave. Joe Daly unzips the driver's suit and just we're old, busts a move. I don't know what do we do now, Joe? In our around our
we cut a
half
rug.
century.
We cut a rug.
Yeah, there it is. That's the one. Yeah. Or for me, it would be a slight seizure and CPR if I dance too much. So, okay, man, you're one of my favorites. I love you, and like I said, I hope the family's good, and we'll all be down with Patrick on August 3rd. We're dark at Meridian, so we're all going to hang out in Twin Falls and watch you go laps down there. And anytime you want to come on, just send us a text and say, give me that code. It's an open door. Patrick and I will take anybody and everybody, but we love having you here tonight.
Perfect. I love coming on here, Brent. You do a great job. I know you catch a lot of flack every now and then, but I appreciate your announcing and appreciate what you do for the drivers. Patrick, we've only met once, but our interaction was awesome, and I look forward to working with you some more when we come down to Twin. You're doing a great job down there, and Spanky, thanks for all the work that you do down there at Twin, because I know you bust your butt. So thank you two for all you do in the booth, shouting out our sponsors, shouting out our names, and thank you guys who are running the tracks and giving us a place to play.
Cool. All right, man. We'll let you get back to work. We're going to talk about this coming weekend, and then we will catch you at Magic Valley Speedway on August the 3rd.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks guys.
Joe.
Appreciate you.
Yep. Joe Daly, one of the good ones, Patrick. Like I said, longtime member of our racing community, and always always good to get on the show and talk. He's always got some cool stuff to share.
Yeah, he's that guy that's man. See, I don't know if he ever has time to sleep. He's trying to help other people out all the time and still fit in racing. And he's got more than enough on his plate with what's going on this past year with his family and stuff. So for the guy to still be so positive and sharing a positive message with young folks that want to get into racing, and he's got kids that race too. So it takes a lot of time and effort for that. And he's one of those guys that's a great role model in the racing community. And the kind of guy that he deserves all the prayers and the good thoughts that he can get for his family. So if you can do somebody a favor, throw an extra little prayer out for the Daly family.
Yeah, no, they're a great bunch, and love seeing them out there at the track, and can't wait to see the whole family back out there here really soon. Hey, I want to touch on, we talked on our YouTube page and on our podcast page, maybe. I know on our YouTube page, we talked to some of the folks from the Idaho Historical Racing Society, Western Idaho Racing Hall of Fame. They were trying to raise some money. They had the trailer down in Twin last month. And a mobile museum is what they're trying to get, just the history, because before you know it, Joe Daly, myself, it's this next generation coming through, and we will be part of that history.
Uh-huh.
All of the donors, all of the memberships today. I'm the vice president of the group. Our president of the group, Joe Schul, went down to Allen Marsh Auto Sales and handed him the full amount for the trailer, courtesy of all of the donors. So step one is done. The great donations have the trailer has the Idaho Historical Racing Society on the title. But we're not done yet, because now we got to wrap it. So we're going to talk to friends like Mike Soyseth and all of the great groups that do wraps and stuff, and we're going to make it look pretty. They want to get a scanner. It'd be cool to have a scanner like you and I talk, so, hey, I want a picture of Joe Daly from, maybe. But we can scan it right there. Give us a buck. We'll give you a picture. Put it back towards the stuff. So still a long way to go, but holy cow. 3 months ago, we all sat down in a meeting and we need to buy a trailer. And if you would have told us before the 1st of August, it would already have our name on it. So a big thanks to all the sponsors. You can go onto the Idaho Historical Racing Society page. They've got the gold, the silver, and it doesn't matter if you gave us $5,000 or $5. We're going to get everybody's name on there, because it went a long way.
That's so awesome, man. I'm glad to hear, first step, let's done. Like you said, get a home for it, right? Got the home. Now we got to, make it look pretty decorated a little bit and make it super attractive, catch people's eye, when they see it at the track. So.
Yeah. So that way next year we'll start hitting some racetracks, car shows, festivals, dairy days, all the cool stuff, and spread the history. And if anybody out there has anything they want to donate as far as photos or albums or old programs, any of that stuff, Stan and Todd and TC and Spanky, there's a group of about 11 or 12 of us that will take it. We'll make copies of it if you want the originals back, whatever you want to do, just as long as it's part of history. People brought hoods from 1950s stock cars. There's all kinds of stuff. We just have to have a place to display it. So if you're one of those that sponsored already, thank you. If you're interested, get a hold of me or Todd Lebrani, TC Ellis, Spanky. We'll find a way. If you got 75 cents or if you got 75 grand, we'll put it to good use to keep history alive here at in Southwest Idaho, Magic Valley, Meridian, everywhere. So
that's the whole goal, just preserve the history.
Yeah, because it's it's amazing. I looked through a few of those books, and it's like, gosh, look at those guys racing in 2003. I'm like, oh, that was me, and it's old. It's an old picture. So it's like a pretty cool deal. We're getting close to announcing the 2024 Western Idaho Racing Hall of Fame members. That's an ongoing deal that Dan asked me to keep alive, and I jumped in with Todd and took some big help from those guys. So we'll be getting our 2 newest members inducted here in September.
Very cool.
So that's all coming up. This weekend, it's Eve of Destruction. I can't believe that it's here already. Idaho CDL Training helping us out. Eve of Destruction 16 with Adam and the crew. So that's how many years we've had this great management group in the house. Boat Races of Destruction, the Beast Jet Dragster. You go on our YouTube page. We got a pretty cool interview with the Beast from Smash-O-Rama earlier this year. So go on there. The Zamp NASCAR late models, Pepsi Sprints, Hornets, and Bombers. We're going to do drift competition number 2. So they'll have a little exhibition competition going on, and then fireworks and just you name it. I know that Colton and Adam and the crew, Chris and Dustin and all those guys are working really hard to get that deal up and running, and it's always a fan favorite. There's going to be 5,000 people in the house. It's going to be 93 degrees, not 103 for the first time in 4 weeks at Meridian Speedway. It's lightning and thunder right now, but the wind's blowing in my open window back here. So always one of the big ones. And then we're coming down to do yours later on this year, man. That's going to be cool too.
Yeah, it's a bunch of the race car drivers. It's a bunch of big kids, and so when you get a night like that where the track owners basically say, "Let's make a mess and have fun," it's going to be a good time.
Oh yeah, it is definitely a fan favorite. Terry Hassan, one of our longtime, she's a Western Idaho Racing Hall of Fame member. Her and her late husband Mike, who was a mainstay staple fireman out at Meridian Speedway for many, many years before we lost him a couple years. So Terry, thanks for watching and joining in. Mike, I've already told him, hey, I got these pictures of this cool trailer. Come on over. We'll see what you can do. And that's the cool thing with all the technology. They can put it all on the computer. You know what it's going to look like before they even touch it. So
yep.
Mike's done some work for me personally, and we get to see all those cars out there. So I appreciate that. There we go. Eve of Destruction. Patrick gets the weekend off, and then we're all going to head to Twin on the 3rd of August.
Yep.
That's going to be your guys' next scheduled event, right?
Yep. That's when we're going to be there.
So I do want to shout out real quick before we take off. Man, there's some people that really bust their tails. Patrick and I get to show up and do this stuff. That's the cool part. Don Kithcart, Chuck Argon. People are watching these events at their leisure now on TV or on their computers. The Speedcast.tv crew, we're expanding. The family's getting bigger. The Meridian Speedway crew is Dusty and Tyler, of course, myself, Chuck, Don. We've got Peyton Banks, who jumped on here just a few weeks ago. He's kind of he was up there with you in Twin.
Yep.
Social media. So we're going to be spreading Magic Valley, Meridian Speedway all over that. We couldn't do it without Peyton. Peyton he'll be the cameraman. He's going to be the production guy. He's going to do our lives, whatever we need him to do. The kid is doing a heck of a job. And then Twin Falls, we've got you, your lovely wife, spinning some tunes behind the scenes there for the Speedcast and Flow events. Brandon down on the photography end, and his wife Melissa jumping up there, like way up there on the roof,
literally on top of the roof.
Literally, she's done a heck of a job too.
Yeah.
And then the future of racing production, your son Tyler. We're going to. I promised him this weekend we're going to teach him how to do some replays and get some cool graphics and stuff. And that's what the people at home, you might not know that it's not just one guy hit and play. It's Patrick's son. It's Dusty. It's Peyton. It's all of us just trying to put together a cool production so that if you can't make it to the track, you can still watch it. Or if you're at the track, you can watch it the next day and be like, why did Patrick say I ran into that guy? I was never even close to him, But it's cool, man. And I'm glad that you and your family are part of it down there. And Melissa and Brandon, right? Our hometown photography guy.
Yep.
Yeah. Those guys, that's what we needed at Magic Valley. We needed a crew, and you guys are building it, and I appreciate that.
Yep, we love it. Having a good time. And Brandon and Melissa starting to bring a couple of their sons out to the track too, so you never know. The crew's going to be growing. So
that's it, man. And like I said, the door's always open, and on those off weekends, and I know, log on to speedcast.tv. You can watch all of the events. We've done, 2 or 3 now down at Magic Valley, Flow Racing events last night.
Yep.
Sorry, thundered. I went back to I just about went under the table right there. I need to close my window. But yeah, so streaming live or replays, Speedcast, Flow. If you guys are watching, either one of them, and the sound stinks or our camera doesn't work, let us know. Let me or Tyler know. And yeah, we don't want you to pay for a cruddy show. We want you to get your full dollar out of it. So yeah, if you ever have any issues, last weekend everything was working perfect at Meridian, and we turned live and there was like a buzzing, like there was a swarm of bees over our heads the whole night. So sometimes it's easy to fix, sometimes it's not. But if you guys aren't satisfied, just let us know, because we want to put together a good product for you, both at Magic and Meridian Speedway as well. So that's it, man. We're gonna go tear some stuff up at Meridian Speedway this weekend. That's gonna be live on Speedcast.tv. So
I'll watch.
Get on there, take a look at all the craziness. Again, Shasta Speedway, Speed Tour Super Mods, Stephen Blakesley and the streaming crew and the media crew down there getting ready to put on a big show. This weekend, I have to shut the window. Hang on. It is pouring down rain in Meridian, Idaho. There we go. Gentleman that did a couple of NASCAR races with me when the NASCAR Northwest Tour was in town. Nate Graves, he did some Twin Falls stuff. He filled your seat down there for a while with DJ. So Nate's like, hey, I'm going to be in Meridian. Can I sit in with you? So we're going to have Nate Graves on the broadcast. Be good to have. The last one we did was an Idaho 208 NASCAR Northwest race, the one that Haley Deegan won.
All right.
That was that one. So it'll be cool to get Nate back in the booth. And don't forget, there's always a seat in Meridian for Patrick and the family too.
I appreciate that.
So, all right, man. Well, it was great working with you this weekend. You guys did a heck of a job, and we're gonna come down. We're gonna get your Tyler all ready to roll and put some of the best productions on. Big show coming up August 3rd down at Twin Falls. We'll all be down there.
Hey, looking forward to it, and we'll be watching on Speedcast this weekend for you guys' Eve of Destruction. All
right. So, big thanks to Joe Daly, everybody that commented. Great to have the fans in the house watching. Yeah. There's our photographer Don Kithcart right there. That's the only reason we do it. Yeah, we do it to try to spread the word, spread the love, and appreciate everybody jumping on tonight. All right, Patrick, we'll see you on the 3rd. We'll give you a shout out on Speedcast when you and the family are watching this weekend. But
right on.
Magic Valley Speedway, August 3rd. Joe Daly's going to be down there, and all of us. Eve of Destruction. Gates open at 4:45. Green flag at 6:30. If you don't have your tickets by Thursday, you're probably not going to get any. So get on to meridianspeedway.com and click the buy tickets link. And until then, we'll see you guys at the racetrack.
See ya.